Happy Easter. Happy Astara, as you mentioned. Happy Pesach. There is just so much to celebrate. I mean, I think every sort of world religion, every tradition recognizes that this is the time of the year to celebrate renewal, rebirth. You know, the glories of the world all around us coming back to life, the joys of spring, the joys in our own life. This is the time. So we're doing that today. And if you have been practicing the unity idea of the Lenten idea of fasting from negative thinking, fasting from judgments, from self-criticism, all of that. If you've been doing that, then good work. Yay! It's time now to enjoy the fruits of your efforts. And if you haven't done it, it's okay, don't worry. We're actually going to do a little spiritual practice a little later where we're going to kind of dive a little deeply, and then we will all get to enjoy and celebrate the fruits of our collective effort. Okay? You know, it's just as important. It is just as important, yes, to do the spiritual work. Yes, we want to do the prayer work, the meditation, the mental work of releasing negative thinking. We want to, open our hearts. We want to be loving. We want to be of service. We want to be working on self-love and self-acceptance, all of that, yes. And we want to make sure that we take time, stand back, and notice the blessings that work has yielded. Just give ourselves permission to, can we just give ourselves permission to enjoy today? Yeah. And just allow that to sort of permeate through your week and your month and the rest of the year. Yeah, we're doing that today. And you can look at it like gardening. When you work at your garden, right? You work to clear the soil and maybe prepare the soil, and then you plant your seed, and then you work to water and weed continuously. You work to, protect that little growth from bugs and deer, right? And then when those blossoms finally come, it's now time to enjoy what you have co-created with Spirit. It's time to enjoy and smell them and admire them and cut some down and make an arrangement and enjoy that. Or if you've got a vegetable garden, you probably do the same amount, maybe even more work. And when those tomatoes ripen and the zucchini or the whatever cucumber, don't you just love harvesting them, bringing them in, chopping them up, putting in your salad? Yes. There's just nothing that tastes like a homegrown ripe tomato. Oh, you can't buy that in the store. There's something about homegrown. There's something about enjoying when you've kind of worked for it. The same is true for everything in life, really, right? The same is true for spiritual practice. Yes, we do the practice, we do the work, and then yes, we need to enjoy. We need to take time to acknowledge ourselves and to enjoy the fruits of our efforts. And we're going to do that together today. And wherever you are with this, maybe you've just begun. Maybe you're just beginning to pay attention to the thoughts in your head and maybe choose more positive thoughts. Maybe you've just begun to open more to divine possibility. Maybe you've just begun to incorporate a few minutes of meditation every day. Maybe you've just begun to do some work in affirmative prayer or the 12 powers, exploring some of that. Maybe you have made a commitment to opening your heart and sharing of your love with the world. Maybe you've made a commitment to loving and accepting yourselves exactly as you are. Right? All of those things we have been talking about from the beginning of the year. And maybe you've been at this, some of you have been at this for a long time. Right? So it doesn't matter. Today, we're all, as I said, going to enjoy our combined efforts, the fruits of our combined efforts. And, with that, it's a very important part of the process, of the manifestation process, is that occasionally we need to stand back and notice how far we have come. Notice the areas of our lives that are flowing more abundantly, more harmoniously. We want to notice how we react to things, how we respond to things. Maybe we're not as reactive as we used to be. Maybe our thoughts are not, maybe we're not consumed with worry anymore as much. Maybe we're not consumed with judgmental thinking. Maybe we're slowly learning to love ourselves and forgive ourselves. Maybe we're becoming more forgiving. Maybe we are really enjoying the moment. Maybe we're in the moment, enjoying the moment. So we want to recognize, stand back and look how far we've come. Look at all the good that's in our lives now. And an interesting thing happens when we begin to really acknowledge that good and acknowledge ourselves and really appreciate it all. More good, it seems to multiply. There's something about acknowledging it that opens the channel for more good to pour into our lives. Just opens the channel. Joy and gratitude, it's a state that aligns us with the flow of harmony, the flow of well-being, the flow of abundance, the flow of love. It aligns us with the flow of expansive living. Joy and gratitude aligns us with the answer. And particularly after a difficult experience. After we have done a little work in processing it and incorporating that experience and receiving the gifts from that, after we've done some of that work, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, joy and gratitude gets us to that next level where we can transcend the challenge, where we transcend. And maybe even that transcendent light that we have cultivated we can then shine that, radiate that light to others to help them transcend their challenges. The word transcendence, I love that word transcendence. The dictionary definition of that is the existence or experience beyond the normal or physical level. The existence or experience beyond the normal or physical level. And it being Easter, joy and gratitude must have been the state that the women who first witnessed the resurrection, they must have been in that after they overcame the initial shock. Joy, gratitude, awe must have been. And whether you see that story of the crucifixion and resurrection as a real event, or you see it more metaphorically, more as a symbolic story that has meaning, it really doesn't matter. It's how it affects us. It's how that story affects us and how it can help shift us and add to our lives if we kind of delve into it. That Easter story. Here's the thing. I'm sure most of us, if not all of us, have had what we might call a crucifixion moment in our lives, where we felt that all was lost, or we felt completely abandoned, or we felt unloved, or we felt like, I just can't go on. Yes? Something like that at some point in your life. Yeah, I think we can all relate to that. And then sometimes when we look back at that experience, we can see that some older part of us has kind of died along with that experience. Some maybe an ego or an attached self or a fearful self, something that we really needed to release is released. That sort of died along with it. We have released what was no longer serving us, albeit in a very unpleasant and maybe dramatic way, but it no longer runs us. What is it about us human beings that sometimes we just have to dive to the depths before we will release what is no longer serving us? You know, it's okay. It's okay. We can do that. You know, we always come out the other side, particularly if we have a supportive community that can really, help support us and empower us as we're going through that. We all need that. And maybe if we're lucky, or a better word, maybe conscious. If we're conscious, like Jesus, maybe we spent some time in the tomb where we incorporated that experience, where we received the gifts from that experience. That's kind of the symbolic meaning of the tomb. It's a sacred, silent place where we can go and listen to the divine wisdom within us, where we can actually hear that divine wisdom within us. And we allow it to percolate. We learn something important about ourselves. We allow that divine wisdom within us to, what is it I can learn about myself? We begin to open to the gifts that might be there in that experience. We maybe connect with the spiritual strength within us, that power of strength that is within us, allow that to empower us. Maybe we even align that human self of us with the spiritual self of us. Maybe we did that. That is really the message of the tomb. That this silent, sacred place where we can allow all of that to happen. And we really can't skip this step. We can't, because it's so essential to the transformation. Then if we skip it, then the thing that we thought that we had released, gonna come back in some other way. So we want to take time in that silent, sacred place and just open to the wisdom, open to that spiritual strength, incorporate this whole experience. And then we can emerge, and the stone rolls away on its own. Metaphysically, the stone in the resurrection story represents anything that's standing in the way of the fullness of our divine self from emerging, or anything that creates an illusion, an illusion of separation. The illusion of separation. So when that process was complete for Jesus, that opening to the complete expression of the fullness of the divine self, the stone rolled away on its own. In other words, that final illusion of separation had dissolved. And so for us, in our story, that heavy stone of separation separates that illusion of separation from the one, from source, the illusion of separation from each other, the illusion of separation from our good. Once we have had that experience of being in the silence, being in that sacred space, learning something important about ourselves, receiving the gifts, receiving the strength, that stone rolls away on its own. And we emerge renewed, reborn, transcendent. Transcendent. And then now we can be a positive influence in the world. And positively be a change agent in the world. So that step is so crucial, it's so important to that transformation that I thought we would have a little taste of that experience together today. Just to sort of give you an idea of what we're talking about here, and together have that experience of opening and listening to our divine guidance, and taking an experience in your life that you would, maybe you call it bad, maybe you call it good, maybe you just call it challenging, whatever. There's gifts for us in each of those experiences. And then together we will emerge and celebrate the fruits of that practice. All right, so take a deep breath. Get comfortable in your seats. Maybe put anything that's on your laps to the side. And when it's comfortable, close your eyes. Continue to breathe deeply. And using the power of your imagination, which is kind of located in that third eye area, imagine with me that you are in a small cave. It's dark, with the exception of several rocks in the corner that are glowing a soft blue. And you decide to take a seat next to this grouping of softly glowing rocks. The ground seems to conform to your shape and hold you comfortably. You feel warm and safe. Keep breathing in that light, that warmth, that safety. And if you like, you can imagine a divine being there with you. If you relate to Jesus, it could be Jesus, Yeshua. It could be a guru, a goddess figure, a guardian angel, spiritual teacher, whatever is comfortable for you. Maybe it's just an energy of light surrounding you. Feel yourself loved and embraced by this energy, by this divine being. And breathe in that love. Breathe in that love and support. And imagine now that this being is encouraging you to turn within and connect with the divine wisdom within yourself. Feel that inner wisdom radiating from your solar plexus into and through your entire body, permeating your consciousness now. Your entire being is alive with this wisdom. Now, as you're connected with this inner wisdom, consciously bring to mind a challenging experience that you've had either recently, or perhaps it was a long time ago, but it's still lingering. And as that divine being or loving energy is holding you, supporting you, you feel safe enough to explore that experience a little deeper. Perhaps something was released in that experience, something that wasn't really serving you after all. Some old, limited idea of yourself. Perhaps something just unhelpful disappeared in that experience. Something that was holding you back from being your true self. Some fear. Some false belief that you were not enough. What was that? And maybe at the time you found that disorienting because it's been with you for so long. But now, as you allow yourself to integrate that experience, you feel empowered, strong, free. Empowered, strong, free you are. See that old stuff just fading away into the nothingness. Feel an amazing strength moving within you now. Feel the power of strength radiating from your lower back and into your entire body. Feel that energy of that power filling you with spiritual strength. You might experience this as a light green energy. Just feel that power penetrating your entire being. That's strength. That's who you are. And that experience helped you to connect and realize that strength that you are, that true self that you are. Allow yourself to open to any of the gifts, all of the gifts that that experience has to offer. Take a few moments in the silence now and allow yourself just to identify and receive the gifts. Now, feel that human part of you merging with the divine self of you. And the divine self of you permeating that human part of you. Breathe that in. Allow the fullness of who you are to emerge. Feel that you are the divine light expressing in the human dimension. And allow yourself to delight in your humanness. To allow yourself to enjoy that. You notice now that the tomb is filled with light. It's filled with light. And you now notice that the source of that light is you. It's you. That light is emanating from deep inside of you. And notice now as you walk towards the entrance of this tomb that anything that might have been blocking your movement is suddenly gone. Anything that might have been blocking the full, free expression of your divine self has disappeared. The stone has rolled away. And you now feel yourself emerging from this tomb fearless, fully knowing your true worth, fully aware that you are divine light expressing. you are reborn. You emerge as the transcendent being that you are. Who you were created to be, here to shine that light into the world and to make a positive difference in the world. You breathe in clean air, new air. Breathe that in. You're centered in the divine human experience of joy and gratitude. And now begin to bring your awareness back to the room, back to the here and now. Take a deep breath. Begin to stretch. Open your eyes. Look around you. Feel that transcendent light pouring from you to others. See that transcendent light in the eyes of everyone around you. So, let us fully enjoy the fruits of our practice. The joy. It's time to celebrate. It's time to celebrate. Enjoy the gifts that we have cultivated here in that practice. And as a reminder of the blessings that are in your life all around you, the beautiful energy that has been created and cultivated in this practice and all the practices you do, we have a little gift that we'd like to give you, a little flower that we'd like you to take home and put it in your, wherever you are, your altar or your breakfast table or wherever. You'll see it to just remind you of the blessings. So just allow this to remind you in the coming days to just stand back, notice all the blessings in your life, notice how far you have come, really acknowledge yourself, really enjoy all of the blessings in your life, all of the blessings that your practice has yielded. Happy Easter.